Open the door, close the door. I am so confused.
Never read a dictionary in my life.
What's that for again?
I think it's
Mary or Mary, quite contrary.
isn't it?
Isn't it?
You're supposed to stare at the camera when you do that.
Oh, is the camera?
But my head is big with wisdom.
Wisdom. Wiki. Yeah. Junior is
This
the
is what they be doing.
funniest kid I've ever seen in my
Every
life.
time I want to intro the pod,
Sorry.
Mine for kids.
I'm not allowed to. What's going on, world? Welcome to episode 93 of the Rhymes Like Dimes podcast. With your boys Peter,
Peace.
Mohammed,
Yep.
and myself, Yemi. And today we're joined by a special guest, a multi-talented rapper, musician, chef, and activist who first rose to fame in 2009 when her debut album, Speech Therapy, won the UK's most prestigious award, the Mercury Prize. Her lyrics are honest, vivid, and introspective, and she has a new album out now called Sunday Dinner on a Monday. Representing South East London, we welcome Speech Debelle to the pod today.
Hey.
Shout out to the intro.
You're welcome,
All
you're
right.
welcome. Much deserved.
Did you have that in your notes? In your
did.
Yeah.
That's what I do for guests. I
Nah, Yemi's
write
got-
something down and I memorize it.
When it
That
comes-
was a
when
good
it comes to
intro.
Thank you. Appreciate it. How you doing today?
I'm wonderful.
Good. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for inviting me.
No worries. Boys, what we saying?
Blessed, bro. How are you, man?
Can't complain. It is summertime. Listen, man. Shout out to Vibes Cartel.
London's undefeated in the summer, boy. But hey, man, God is good all the time.
All
All the time, God is good. Mohammed, how are you?
Chilling, man. Same old. Like you said, summer in London, undefeated.
Undefeated, innit?
Undefeated, bro. I tell you that for free. It's London in the summer.
What do you love about it the most? What do you love about it the most?
The sun.
Okay. The sun.
Do you think like it's so lit because we are like waiting for it?
Absolutely.
So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this place is a miserable place, like weather-wise. You know what I mean?
And you know, you don't know how long you've got.
Yeah.
Because
that
London,
too.
like in LA or Dubai, they know they've got sun every day.
Yeah.
With us, because it's so
Yeah.
limited, we're gonna enjoy it while we have
Yeah,
it.
it's true. You can't waste a day.
You can't waste a day. And in this country, where people don't know what to wear when it comes to the summer, I tell you that for free, fam.
Where?
I'm telling you, fam. People out here looking like, no man.
People out here still wearing puffers. People out here still wearing puffers and trackies and
Wild.
all that stuff as well.
I mean, I've still got my hoodie on.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
you're
fine.
But still, evening time, you need something.
That's what
Yeah,
people,
you
that's what
need
people
some
forget.
still.
Like, when I walk
Yeah.
out in a hoodie, people looking at me like, oh, you're on drugs, but let it get to 9, 10 o'clock. So who's a smart one?
No, I feel you. But yeah, it's been a good start so far, and hopefully it stays this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Don't want it to be like a rainy summer. You know how sometimes in UK you sometimes get rainy summers?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't have that.
Yeah.
Can't have
Summertime in London, enjoy it, man.
And post-COVID as well.
That's what we
Yeah.
that's another one as well. Because COVID took 3 years, man. Of the summers. So,
that. Yeah.
like,
So you
So we're still
appreciate
playing
it more.
catch-up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can't
Yeah,
lie.
you appreciate it a lot more.
Hello, yeah.
Fair enough. Drake's is in the cut as well.
Big up
Whoa,
Drake's.
whoa.
It's good, Drake's. Not too bad.
Fresh
not
off
too bad.
Dubai.
Who'd you
You
go
know what I
with?
mean?
Calm. I don't know
Shake
why-
Drake's.
Yes, Drake's had a wonderful trip in Dubai. Posted on Instagram for the first time in 16 years as well. That's how you know he enjoyed it.
Drake's our uncle, fam. You see the angles that he was taking with it? Yo, Drake's.
Rusty, he was rusty.
When I tell you Drake's, Drake's my taste, my Bayesian uncle, fam. This guy, when it comes to angles, fam, on the stories, just like, yo, I'm telling
Holding
you,
the phone with both hands.
yo, you see, like Drake's is one of my closest friends in life, but the way this guy, every single image, Burj Khalifa, beach, the moon.
Sound like a vlog. Well, as long as you enjoy it, my bro.
Yeah, man.
100%. Thank you to everybody listening and watching. And if you are watching on Spotify or YouTube, you'll notice we're in somewhere completely different from our usual setup. Shout out to the good people over at OSR Studios. Shout out to the Spotify massive, the YouTube massive, the Apple Podcast massive, the Google Podcast massive, the SoundCloud massive, and every other massive out there. Appreciate you watching and listening. Now, Speech. We have a tradition on this pod. First thing we ask them is for them to name us their favourite top 5 UK and US rappers. Either UK and US individually or combined. So,
Right. Top. But why UK and US? Do you just mean top 5 rappers?
no,
Or-
I mean,
Like some
It is-
people separate both. Some people just do the US alone and
Right,
the UK alone.
right.
Or you can have it mixed, completely up to you.
I'm gonna do mix. I don't wanna stretch my brain right now that much. Right? So my top 5 rappers are Tupac's gotta be in there. Roots Maneuver. At the moment, Frank, what's his name? Frank something. Can I look at my phone quickly?
Is he US, UK?
UK,
UK. Frank.
and he's bad. Right, I'm gonna tell you. Oops, no, we don't want the music on there, do you? You're not doing that. Look, I can't find his name, but it's Frank something. UK rapper.
Okay.
How many is that? 3?
3.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh, it's quite a struggle.
Thinking on the spot.
Yeah. Myself.
Hear it.
And 5. All right. Say some names for me. Who's some of yours and see if it aligns.
Jay,
Yeah.
Nas,
Yeah.
Steph.
I got Pac,
Yeah.
Ghostface, Black Thought from the Roots. That's probably my 5. Kendrick, Common, Mos Def,
UK wise? Say Kano, Wretch.
Kano, Wretch,
Yeah.
Gets.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Nas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nasty Nas.
Yeah.
Okay. So why Tupac?
I think just because it was an early introduction for me into rap, and particularly rap that was emotive, poetic, rap that I could, because back in the day it was more American rap that I was listening to, and it was a bit of a leap. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm on the number 2 bus. I can't really so much relate to what a rapper in LA is saying in terms of lifestyle, but when I heard Tupac, he was speaking about his emotions, his experiences with family and things like that, and I was like, oh, okay, I can kind of tap into that and relate to that. So it kind of drew me in, I would say.
Do you think he's an elite MC?
No. Nah.
Wow.
The reason why I asked is because in our second to last episode, we were speaking about elite MCs and the difference between elite MCs and GOAT MCs. And there was a bit of controversy because our brother, shout out to Nee, said the same thing. And the Tupac fan amongst us
I'm a big one.
had reservations.
Yeah.
So, why don't you think he's an elite MC?
I mean, in terms of the art of MCing, he doesn't really do like, double entendres and similes and, like if you watch, I'm a big fan of battle raps. And what they do is like, it's just ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? In terms of wordplay. And that's not Tupac. Tupac ain't a wordplay person. So, like Drake is a better rapper than Tupac, in my opinion.
Hot take.
But I prefer Tupac. I like Drake a lot. But I think in terms of wordplay and the skill and the art of MCing, Tupac can't really talk to a lot of people. But he is the other things that he embodies, right? Like you talk about the tone of voice, how he sounds, his cadence, how he approaches a track, how he uses his voice, the beats that he picks, his choruses,
Storytelling.
the storytelling.
Yeah.
How much he puts in the passion. He's all of those things to combine to make him one of the greatest to me.
And he doesn't need to be elite because he's got all of those qualities.
Exactly.
So, he's already the greatest and probably the most influential of all time. So
He's certainly influential. Kendrick's, like he's one of them sensei rappers, right? He's got a lot of all of those things. But for me, there's something about the accessibility of Kendrick that to me makes him not really goated like that. Because he's not as accessible. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you might like a Kendrick tune, but you got to sit down for about 4 days. You get me? To really take in so he's dope, but that's probably why I would say one of my favorites, or put him in that kind of goated category.
So when you say accessible, do you mean lyrically or do you just mean musically? Because I say musically, I think he showed us on Damn especially that he can make very accessible music, like radio friendly stuff.
This is true. Do you know what it is as well? I heard somebody, I don't know who it was, say that like certain people don't really listen to Kendrick and like road people, basically. Don't really listen to Kendrick. So for me, coming from where I'm coming from, he's not as accessible. Like one of my favourite tunes from Kendrick actually is on what's the one before the Pimple Butterfly?
Good kid, man, too.
Good Kid. The track where he's talking about just being with his friends for the day.
Oh, was it the Art of Peer Pressure?
The Art of Peer Pressure. That's my favourite track from Kendrick, because that was, in terms of Kendrick, that's the song that I relate to the most out of anything that he's ever done. And also on his latest album, Auntie something.
Auntie Diaries.
Auntie Diaries.
Yeah.
As a lesbian, I super relate to that, you get me? So, but yeah, in terms of accessibility, it's not really, I enjoy it, but there's a bit of a gap between us.
There's a barrier there.
I think the conversation around elite MC is quite interesting, because I think it depends on your criteria. Because I think obviously you naming that Tupac doesn't really use metaphors and similes, so I'm understanding what your criteria is. But for someone like me, I think the fact his storytelling is more than what a metaphor or simile can give me personally, which is why I put him up there.
But I put him up there too. But you're talking about in terms of lyrically.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then say someone like Nas, who is very similar to Tupac, but I think Nas is mad vivid in a way that Tupac isn't vivid like that. Like I feel like Tupac gives you know what it is with Pac, like you know when someone's telling a story and they're super animated, you feel like you know the story more than if a person told you to quietly. But Nas really, he's actually super vivid and super, you know what I'm saying? He's talking, he's this guy, you know the tune, like old school tune, the man's talking about the prison wall and that, and
Project Windows, I think it is.
Not Project Windows. It's the same album, though.
Okay.
You know your thing, you know, that I like you. And he's saying how the walls are, it's like the 9 by something, and the walls are, he's describing the whole cell. Like, Tupac ain't really doing that in terms of storytelling.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that why Nas is in your top 5 as well, because of the vividness?
Yeah, and what I like about Nas is Nas don't care about cadence, is out the window with Nas, and I love that. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people can do that.
Yeah.
Nas is really talking over the whole beat, you know.
Yeah, he has this laid back style of rhyming. He rhymes from like a different part of his throat that you hear other rappers do it from, and I think because of that, and I think you have a similar thing, especially on like the first joint. Like
probably,
I think you're rhyming from like the same part of your vocals as well. So
the relaxed part.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
How about Roots Maneuver?
I love Roots Maneuver because I don't think I like a person that is just on a whole different timestamp to everyone else. Like he just, like when you listen to him, half of what he's saying is words that he's made up. Like he's been on nearly all of my albums actually, and I've had a conversation where I said, "What does that mean?" He'd be like,
That's like Ghostface,
so, yeah. It's a word that sounds nice and it rhymed, but it's just I appreciate the fact that he don't stick to the rules, and he's groundbreaking, and brave.
100%. In this like era now of like UK rap, where we're getting closer and closer to the kind of more drill and the more like commercial stuff, do you think that Roots gets the respect he deserves and the recognition he deserves?
I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what that means. Do you know? I mean, we're sitting down here having a conversation and we're talking about Roots, and so in this room he is. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I like it's kind of a struggle to even really answer that question, because who are we talking about that is not giving him more you know what I'm saying? It's kind of imaginary, isn't it?
I guess the younger generation of fans that won't know who he is and might have grown up on, you know, maybe a post-grime type of landscape. But
they can find out. We listen to people that are older than us. Like I listen to stuff that my mum used to be playing back in the day. That's not my generation. Like as a Jamaican, I'm listening to reggae of people that's about 70 years old, and I'm still listening to it. So I don't think that should be stopping anybody from tapping into anything. I don't think it does stop people from tapping in.
Yeah, for sure. Did you check out what Tyler the Creator said about something like this kind of topic recently?
I did see a clip.
Yeah, he was on the Rap Radar podcast.
With Elliot Wilson, innit?
Yeah, with Elliot Wilson and B-Dot as well, right?
Yeah.
And he basically said, if you like hip hop from a certain generation, then you're just being performative. Whereas if you're of a certain generation, you have Baby, you have Young NBA, and all those people. And I just thought that was a little ignorant from Tyler. It was kind of like a rare miss from him. How do you feel about that?
I think it's a little bit of both, right? So if we were to listen to 80s hip hop tune, that it's just gonna sound mad old. Do you know what I mean?
So clap your hands, everyone.
You know what I'm saying?
To the
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's gonna sound so basic and old. The beat, the rhymes, everything. And so, if I've never heard it before, it's gonna be a bit weird for me to like it, innit? Unless there's something super interesting that they're doing. But at the same time, where I'm 40, so where I sit, I listen to hip hop from 89, 88, and also now because I'm here. So I think obviously he's doing a soundbite, innit? But I think if you're listening to a wide varied amount of music, then it's going to be possible for you to like some things that's outside of your generation. If you only like that, and you probably look a certain way, like you've probably got the outfit to match that kind of style, you know what I mean? Then there's an element of performative to it. You've kind of tapped into a decade that you're into and said this is my statement, this is my fashion statement. But at the same time, who cares and why is that? And do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's ultimately the angle I'm coming from.
And
like, who cares if who cares if you like who cares if you're like 16 and you like Wu-Tang? Like, if anything, that's great because it's like those generations and that era of rap lives on, which is what we want for what is supposed to be like one of the most important eras of rap for the time. So yeah, that makes sense. Taking it back to your life story, then, how did you find rap, or how did rap find you?
How did rap find me? So I was on. I think poetry, that's how it started for me. It started with poetry. That was my kind of intro into it. But I wanted to sing. So we had like a singing group and, we were all doing singing. And, like people, like there's three of us are singing and, girls got a hand in the ear like, you know what I mean? Like, can I swear?
Yeah,
do your thing. I keep going like, all right, but, and so I kind of got the hint in it. And I thought, all right, then I heard rap. I said, I'm going to try this. And we was coming back from school in the back of the bus. And remember them times it was girls couldn't rap, right? And
what times were these?
I'm 19. I left school at like 2000. No, 99. So we're talking like 95.
Right.
Them kind of ages, 95, 94. And they were like, oh, she can rap. They're like, go on then, rap then. I said, all right. I bust a little like 4 bars.
Do you remember it?
Nah, I don't remember it. I bust a little 4 bars. The bus said, "Whoa!" Everyone went mad on the bus. Nah, and I became the girl that could rap. Do you know what I mean? And I said, I like that. I like that. I'm gonna keep doing this.
So it was kind of just
I like the feeling.
Yeah, it was the adrenaline rush that came from rapping that kind of made you want to pursue it a bit more. Okay. Who were you studying at the time? Were you listening to rap a lot at the time, or was it a thing where you just rapped and it kind of just took off from there?
The Brat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout.
Probably Nas. There was a point where Nas was just super impressive to me. So I was probably studying Nas. DMX.
Okay.
Yeah, DMX as well. DMX Slippin' is, to me, one of the greatest hip-hop songs ever made. It's just perfection. And I still follow that structure, actually, of DMX Slippin' in terms of the 3 verses, you know what I mean? The type of chorus, the type of chord progression that he's using is very much foundation to me. And I also appreciated how the Mandem would react to him when it played. I always found that very interesting and I always enjoyed it.
What reactions did you see as far as how they would react to him?
It would ignite them in a way that other rappers didn't really do that. DMX really seemed to have a sort of a hold on testosterone that was just noticeable.
Yeah, he had a chokehold in the man.
Yeah,
DMX had a chokehold in the man.
yeah, and it was just always, it's because it's so notable. Because just like the way energy shifted, just that made it interesting to me.
Were there any UK rappers in the mix that you were studying or looking at the
Rodney
time?
P.
Okay.
Big up.
Rhythm Killer was probably the track that transitioned me from rapping in an American accent to my own. I heard that and was like, oh my God, he sounds like me. He's talking like me. I didn't even know that existed. So, and the early days of Estelle, when she was Estelle and Wildflower, they had a tune called like Science or something like that. Yeah. This is a long time ago though, but I'm stretching right now, but yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned rapping in an American accent before you transitioned into your own accent.
Yeah.
When you think about that now, is it a thing where, I mean, I don't want to say shame or anything, but how do you feel about the fact that you had to rap in an American accent at the time?
I think it's just what it was. It was what I knew. It was what I was exposed to. I don't really have any kind of... Like, if someone was to play a recording of it, I wouldn't feel some kind of way. I wouldn't feel embarrassed or anything like that because that was my influence. And, rap is... It's more Jamaican than it is American anyway. Do you feel me? So it's all part of the same story. It's all part of my lineage anyway, I feel like. We're all connected in terms of our music. It's just tapping into each other. So I don't see it as it needs to be so separate.
I hear that. So when did you realise that you was nice with it?
On the bus.
Fair enough.
Do you know what I mean?
From day one?
Yeah, because clearly something's happening here. Even if it's just the sound of my voice, that meant something. And so from that, I think really it was when I knew I was nice. And then as I continued to rap, it was just a case of people being receptive to me. So in a way, it was like an outward experience. That was like it was outward that taught me that I'm nice. Because people are like, yeah, but you ain't heard her rap though. Do you know what I mean? So I think as well with this album, actually, I'm doing a big leap. But with this album, I heard the Heady One and Drake, and they were spitting. And I said, you know what? I had never even approached a track with that kind of wordplay in that. Let me try it. Do you know what I mean? And I think I executed it. So to a certain extent, the reason I'm saying that is because you can always be better. Do you get what I mean? You can always be, like, nice is nice for the moment, but it just takes somebody else to come around and be nice in a different way, and you ain't that nice anymore. Do you know what I mean? So it's always getting nicer.
It's almost like that spirit of competition, hearing someone rap and then wanting to kind of rap as well, sort of thing.
I wanted to try it.
Yeah.
I wanted to try it. Do you get what I mean? And I was like, I never rapped like that before. Like, even though I've been watching battle raps URL and Don't
That's his
Flop,
thing right there, man.
yeah, for however long, and I just like, I don't rap like that. I said, hold on a minute. Do you know what I mean? I'm a different kettle of fish. I'm seasoned. I make you take a closer look. See, man, this black fish can see world. Yeah, I see land. I let it fly with no hook. That's a Peter Pan. I said, I'm gonna do it. I'm in there too.
I actually wrote that bar down as well. That was one of my favourites on the album.
Did you get into battles when you was coming up, when you first, like, just
Nah.
around in school or anything like that, or just...
Your mama
obviously-
jokes.
Okay, because
Yeah.
you said you was known as the rapper in the area,
Yeah.
so I don't know if sometimes people might bring someone to you and just be like, clash.
No, I didn't do that. I didn't. And I never saw that happening, actually, funny enough. Like, there's that like famous clip of like Biggie and I never really saw that, actually.
Oh, fair days.
Is that something you saw?
No, sorry, America-wise.
Yeah,
used to
not
do a
over
lot,
here
like,
though,
Biggie would
innit?
be outside and just...
Right.
I think UK
Yeah.
started to do that, but because we was always playing the catch-up game, like you said, I think once we started to do that was 06, 07 is when
Risky
we started.
Roads and
Risky
that, right?
Roads and
Yeah.
Northern
Right.
Mics is when we really started
Yeah.
getting clashes,
Yeah.
I would say.
And it's quite organised as well, that
Yeah,
as well.
whereas,
absolutely.
with us it's more, you're battling this person at this time. Whereas with America, it's come outside, I've got someone for you, and I've got, like, was it Roxanne Shante? We used to just go around.
Just clashing everyone,
I was clashing everyone left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
So without the benefit of those kind of platforms, how were you getting your name out there back in the day as far as like showcasing your rap skill, maybe around the city or your
I wasn't
area?
really. Do you know what? I wasn't. I got a deal. So I never really, I kind of didn't have, my first time performing was in February of 2009. And I won the Mercury in June 2009. Do you know what I mean? Like, I never really had that. Like, I was with my mates. We were rapping in the studio. We were in Cable Street Studios, actually. This is like 2000 right now.
That's where we are right now.
We'd be here till, that's back in the day when people had music studios. You know, we'd be here till like 5 o'clock in the morning. We're all doing verses. Me, Short Man, Realism, Self-Talk Beats is doing the beat. Everyone does their verse. Put it down, lay it down, bam, next one. And that was enough. For me at the time, I was enjoying myself. And then I got into some trouble. And I got as close to like, you're guilty as I'd ever want to be. You get me? And so I said, all right, let me do this thing seriously. And I was in the studio with a guy called Sam. And I said, right, he had a Yellow Pages. You remember Yellow Pages? Yeah. And I flipped through it and it had record labels in there. So I'm looking at record labels and I see calling different numbers. Hello, nah, you know, you can't really get through to the people then. Call the next one. Hi. This guy answers. You know what? I like the sound of your voice. Why don't you come see me? I said, all right, where you at? Boom, boom, boom. Took the address down. I said to Sam, right, he said, come and see him. This is his address. Let's go. Sam was like, that's my road. That's the name of my road. What are you talking about? I'm like, nah, I swear to God, that's the address he gave us. We burnt a CD with 3 tracks on there. Finished this album that made it to the first album, and Searching that made it to the first album. And the next one, I can't remember what it was now. Walked down the road and it's Ninja Tune on the same road that Sam lives on. Literally walked in on a Friday, played him the demo. On a Monday, he called me back and basically came back in and offered a deal. Got the deal, got the 20-page contract. Had a couple of people looking at it, a couple of man them looking at it, a couple of man, a man talking about, yeah, my uncle can look at it for you still. Do you get me? Like that was all we knew, innit? They know nothing about solicit. Oh, you get that from. And read it and was like, ain't that good? But and it was like £3,000. And I was like, man, I'm gonna make that money on road. So I said, I left, this was like 2006. So I'm button that deal, man. I'm going back on road. Got into some more trouble. And so a year later, basically called them back and said, do you still wanna do it? You get me? Yeah, I circled back on them. I did. And they were receptive. And so that was 2007. Made the album 2008, did my first show 2009, and won the Mercury 2009, and then went on a headline tour from October for about 14 months. So that was I never had that kind of training ground, or do you know what I'm saying? It was from road to straight. Yeah, no breaks. Straight, no.
Wow. Once you signed your deal, did it feel like things were going, because obviously you mentioned you signed the deal, you then record the album, release the album, win the Mercury. Was it all happening very fast for you, or was it a thing where it was like, it felt like you were taking the time with it? It
felt like at the time, it felt like it was taking longer than it should. Do you know what I mean? Like on reflection, it was super fast. At the time, it's not where you want, it's not what you want right now. So it's, you know what I mean? Like when you're in it, it feels like it's taken forever. But it was super fast. It was as well. Even when I went on tour, like at that point, I never had a manager yet. I didn't have an accountant. I didn't have any of those things. And my best friend was my tour manager, because it was like, we needed a tour manager. She's like, fine, I'll do it. You get me? We literally we worked together in the office. She was like, I'm quitting too, bitch. You get me? She was my tour manager. My brethren Real, who we used to be in the studio rapping with, he became the second driver. And it was chaos. You get me? Nobody knew what we was doing, and we just went around the place touring, had an amazing time. I literally, my voice changed from that. So because I didn't know how to like look after myself and stuff, like, you know, like now I might drink a tea or something before a show. I didn't know any of that. So we would do a show, be for an hour, blah, 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 do a show, then go outside in the cold, smoke, rain into the go back inside. And it literally changed the tone of my voice. Do you know what I mean? I never had no training ground. I never had no, I don't even want to say I wouldn't have had a come up. I was not there, and then I was there.
So when it came to then recording your first album, like, what was that experience like? Was that quite alien for you as well?
I recorded in Australia, in Melbourne.
Yeah.
So the producer that I worked with, he lived there at the time, and it was cheaper to get a flight and go stay with him, record it in his house, than it would be to record in London. So that's the option they chose. And I was like, I'll go Australia. And I wanted to work with him. And because he came to London, and so the label put us together and be like, let's see if it works. And the day he came around is the day we did Searching. And that was basically like an accident. So with that track Searching, I heard it as grime. 2 a.m. in my hostel bed, eyes them red, belly ain't fed. I got butter, but he ain't got bread. And I'm smoking on my last cigarette. But you know, like grime is double time when it comes to the BPM, innit? So we're picking drum patterns because it's double time. When he's clicked on a jazz one, not by accident, it's double time. It's you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, that kind of sound interesting. And it's kind of how we made the whole album. I went out to Melbourne, and that's kind of what it is. Like, a lot of the time we would have just a click, and I'd already have a lot of the songs already written. I'd record it in the booth, and then we just start throwing stuff around it. It was
so
very
would you rap
comfortable.
before hearing the beat?
That first album, yeah.
Okay.
That first album was pretty, 90%. It was, I wrote it in just, I got an idea of how it sounds in my head. Right. You know what I mean? I can kind of hear it. I know what tempo it is. I know what kind of, like, at the time I didn't know chords to, like, that's the C, that's the mate. I still don't really know, but I know what it ain't. Feel me?
Yeah.
So with the debut album, Speech Therapy, like, what did you, if you could take yourself back to that era, like, what did you want to prove for that album about yourself?
I wanted to finish the album. I wanted to make an album. Like, I was getting tired of being, like, just in the studio every night. Like, something's, what now? What next? That was what was propelling me to that, just finish an album, just make an album. I didn't really have expectations past that.
Right.
So success for you at that time would have been just doing the album?
Yeah.
You hadn't really looked beyond that?
No. I mean, that's the thing, is that is kind of the biggest success. Like, you think about how many people that you know that do music and how many people don't make an album. Do you know what I mean? Like, making one, that's a huge success.
100%. Especially for the grime generation, a lot of them haven't made albums. Like, DWE only just recently started making albums, and he's been in the game for 2 decades. So
he might not have wanted to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm talking specifically the people that want to.
Fair enough. I guess that makes what followed, the Mercury Prize win, all the more amazing, because it was a thing of maybe you weren't even thinking about it at the time.
No, I knew I was going to win.
Oh, okay.
I knew I was going to win in Melbourne. So we're in the studio, and I go out for a smoke break, because, you know, you can't smoke in studio, it's just like, you know. So I go out for a smoke, and you know, when you just sit in, you just hold a medi, and I saw myself winning this award. I saw they said my name. I went up and I walked up and I collected it, and I came back in. I said, I just saw myself winning the Mercury Award. And he was like, yeah, all right, love. The album cost like $3,000, bruv. You ain't winning nothing. You get me? That's what he's thinking, innit? By the time it's nominated, he came down from Melbourne. He came to the Mercury night. Obviously, we won. And I said, do you remember when I said to you? And he was like, I do. I actually do remember that. Do you know what I mean? So that's why leading up to the Mercuries, when I was getting interviewed and stuff, and obviously not having PR training, and them saying, "What do you think your chances are?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Clean. Yeah,
You don't
I got
even
this.
know.
I don't even know what
I got this in the bag.
Talking about.
I got this in the bag.
This
You know
is
what I
light
mean?
work.
Yeah, like, you know, and, you know, even to there was a point where they were saying that I had some kind of insight into, like, you know, in terms of the judges, whatever. I didn't know the judges, didn't know who they were, but that was something that I saw earlier on.
Had you heard of the Mercury Prize before you
Yeah,
started?
Miss Dynamite is how I heard of the Mercury Prize. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Dizzy Rascal as well.
Yeah, you're part of that elite group with them too, and Skepta and Dave and Sims as well, as far as like rappers who've won it as well.
Yeah.
Taking it back to the actual night that you won it, like, was it, obviously you knew you were going to win it, but once you had the prize, the trophy in your hand, like,
Yeah.
how did that feel? Did it feel like manifestation?
Yeah, it felt wonderful. Like, my friend, we stayed at the because it takes place at the Grosvenor Hotel, and so that's where the label booked a room there as well, and my best friend stayed with me, and she was like, "Do you know, like, the morning you woke up, I woke up and I turned, and then you opened your eyes, and you opened your eyes with a smile." And I think that's like, that's probably a joy that's just, you know what I mean? That's an innate joy.
Yeah.
I didn't have much time to celebrate though, because literally the next day the person from my press label was like, "Yeah, they're about to switch on you."
Switching you how?
Like, they're about to turn.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's about to turn.
Yeah.
It's the next day, it's about to turn. You're going to become public enemy number one.
Yeah,
because you won.
They love you up until you get to that point.
Yeah,
And the minute you get to that, especially back
Aye.
then, as like you can hide it a little bit now, but back then it
Yeah.
was just there could be so much more in your face and get away
Yeah.
with it. Whereas with now,
They would be able to get
censor
away with it now.
Exactly. Whereas
Yeah.
back 09 or 08 times.
Yeah.
And was your
yeah.
profile as high as the people that you were in competition with as far as the nominees? for the
No,
Mercury? Yeah,
no,
exactly.
no,
So-
not
Because
at
you were
all.
nominated alongside like Florence and the Machine and
Yeah, exactly.
Others
You know,
like
the
that.
people that won it before me, I can't even remember the names of them. There's like 4 middle-aged white men.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's who I'm essentially taking it from.
So were you prepared
Big
for what was to
mad.
come then, as far as like how they were going to attempt?
I
to
wasn't
take you down?
surprised.
Yeah.
This is England. I wasn't surprised. And like I said, the press guy at the label, he literally gave me the heads up.
So going into that era of your life, was there trepidation, or was it a thing where you were kind of looking forward to what was coming? How did you feel going into what was now like a very bright spotlight on you and your every move?
I will say I prefer my life now
Yeah.
than being famous, because I think that's what we're talking about. Like, being famous, I got a lot of stuff, but if I had a choice, I would take the other things that come along with it, other than the fame. That wasn't my favorite part of it. It just felt like I had to do a lot of work to just be. Do you know what I mean? Like, just be, to present you. Like, I've had to go through makeup, I've had to go through hair, I've had to like do how many interviews just to turn up at a place and go home. Do you know what I mean? Like, fame takes work, and it takes work in a way that, like, this is not very fun, and the outcome of it is more fame.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, this ain't really. It's not what I was in it for.
We've spoken about on the podcast in relation to whether labels have more of a responsibility to support their artists with like mental health and things of that nature. Do you feel like, without throwing anyone under the bus, do you feel like your label?
Oh
did
no,
that
but
for you?
I throw my label all the way under the bus. This is not about them. Listen, I fell out. We fell out after the first album because I called my the head of my labels. I called him something like I said something about, I don't know, probably a slave driver, some shit, I don't know.
Wow.
Like, he hated me because, do you know what it is? People talk about, like, you know, artists should have you should have someone look over your contract and fair. However, big man shouldn't be in a room with a young, vulnerable woman and not say, by the way, since you don't have a solicitor, we'll pay for your solicitor. That's something that you should offer. That's not something I should find out like a year down the line. That's what a label will do that for you, right? And no, I ain't got no solicitor to look at it and watch me sign that shit, knowing that I'm signing away my masters. Do you know what I mean? So fuck them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's
independent labels like to present themselves as like
exactly.
being
They're
fairer,
the nice guys. They're not.
but they're not.
No.
Their label's just like every other label, and they do what
they
they
know
have
what
to
they're
do to
doing.
make money.
When they know you're
Having worked for an independent label myself as well, I know.
They know what they're doing as well. If you're from, depending on where you are, depending on what ends you're from, depending on who your peoples are, I can't get you solicitor. I can get you 3 man with older cousins and an uncle.
Yeah.
And them are going to be the one that read it.
Yeah.
And they know that.
Yeah.
They know that, especially when you're vulnerable. They know what they're giving you. And they know you're most probably not going to go through it.
Well, this is it, because a contract that's like 20 pages, you need to be a solicitor to
1000%.
get into that. This ain't just like, even if I've been in the business 30 years, you ain't getting it.
Yeah, there's
Do you know what I
language in
mean?
there that's like
It won't make
intention.
It won't make
for you not
sense.
to
It won't make
understand.
sense to us.
It won't.
It won't make sense to us, respectfully.
Because
It won't.
clause 4 negates clause 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
I suppose at the time was all of this fame, and you were on tour as well. Like, was it hampering your creativity at the time as well? The whole reason why you're in this situation?
I can't say I was very creative. I was drunk. Do you know what I'm saying? We was drunk, we was high, we was having fun. We was going all over the place, eating all types of different food. It wasn't a time of creativity. When it came to do the second album, I ended up drawing on like what was happening in the world. So that was like 2012. That was like the Egypt uprising and stuff like that. And
London riots.
London riots. Yeah.
London riots, exactly. And so I kind of ended up making a Bun Babylon album. I think it's taken me a while of being away from fame, and just being back to like having a normal life to be able to spark more creativity.
Yeah, because you went away from the music scene after the second album as well. Was that?
And after every album.
Yeah.
I quit after every album.
I suppose I suppose you did, yeah. But I suppose it became more pronounced after the second
Yeah.
one, where you kind of just like I'm out sort of
Yeah.
thing, as opposed to the first album, second album. You're famous
Yeah.
now. You're kind of getting accustomed to it.
But also, I was able to get out the door on the second album. So the first album, I wanted out. It wasn't letting me go, but it also wasn't letting me go anywhere else.
Obviously.
And so, begrudgingly, did the second album. The second album didn't do as well as the first. And they were like, all right, you can go now.
Which album do you think's better, first or second? We were talking about it before you got here.
I think the first album's a masterpiece. It's not even, I don't think, because it's so naive.
Personal as well.
Yeah, it's so naive. It's like, do you know what I mean? There's no pretense. It's not cute. It's just, it's very honest and ugly, and that's art. Whereas the second album just is not afforded that.
Yeah, a lot more in your face.
Yeah.
Just again, speaking to the world.
It was harsher.
There's an identity.
Which I actually liked, though.
Yeah.
I thought it was more in your face, which I preferred.
Yeah. Different producer as well. It was Quez
yeah.
on production.
Big
Yeah.
Quez, yeah.
Big Quez.
Amazing producer. But yeah, I think out of all of my albums, I think this one here is my personal favourite. I think it's the best album out of the ones that I've done.
How do you think you've changed from album to album to album artistically?
I think on this album, I think I've probably gotten out my own way, right? So, you know what? I think I got used to being Speech Debelle, and I got a bit too comfortable.
In what sense?
I wasn't really trying to do anything. I just it's so you know what I mean? Rapping became so easy and so effortless that I'm not putting effort in, and that's a mistake.
So taking your gift for granted.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I think on this album I stretched myself, and I think that's what made it better than the previous album. The previous album is a beautiful album. It's a sad album. It's an anxiety-ridden album, exactly where I was at the time. And I can understand why there's tracks on it that are important to people, because it's a particular feeling that they're tapping into. But yeah, I think this is certainly my favourite album.
Would you say between, well, I mean, the second album, third album, to your point about taking your skill for granted, was that around the time when you, now you look back, you think you were?
I think the second and the third.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second and the third.
Okay.
It's kind of felt like a breeze. It felt too easy now on reflection. It was too easy.
Right. So when you look back or listen back to those albums, like, do you like those albums?
I like songs off the albums. I don't really listen to my own music for enjoyment because it's difficult to do so. Like, it's difficult to just be a listener. I'm hearing this, I'm hearing so much going on that it's just not really enjoyable for me. So there are moments on all of the albums that I can enjoy, where I get to feel a bit lost in it. So on the second album,
Freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech, thank you. Elephant in the living room. I get to just be a listener, because, and I think those are when it's a track like that, it's because everything I think sounds as it should. Absolutely everything sounds as it should, so I can get to just enjoy it, and that doesn't happen on every single song.
So how do you know when an album's done?
Because I have to stop. I have to stop, or I'm just, it's going on forever and ever.
But do you know when to stop?
I know when to stop now. Yeah, yeah, I know when to stop now. If I find myself nitpicking, like talking about, if I start talking about shift that to their, like it's too. Just let the thing be the thing. Sometimes a little bit of a little wonkiness to it is actually the essence of it.
Facts.
And so much like chopping and redoing, like even redoing your vocals and chopping in and stuff like that. Like if there's certain things that I say that is slightly out, or my voice breaks in a certain way, then that's just how, that was the emotion at the time. And trying to make that perfect takes away from the essence of the song, because I feel like the song existed before we went in the studio and started making it. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like there's a person I listen to called Your One Black Friend. She has a podcast, and her theory is that music is a parasite, in the same way that it goes into one person and uses that person as a host to then transfer into another person. Right?
That's a crazy way to put it.
Right?
That's
It's
a
like
crazy way
COVID.
to put it. What's that?
It's like COVID.
It's COVID.
It's like COVID.
So music
Musical COVID, yeah.
Music is not COVID.
COVID in musical form. Take the antigen symbol, take the music symbol, bah!
You're not serious, bruv.
And it will mash you up too, the host. It will mash up the host as well. How many artists, especially ones that get famous, struggle with drugs, alcohol, mental health? Do you know what I mean? Like in the process of being a host, you're getting mash up. But so yeah, I do believe that theory holds some weight, because what do you mean the song is just like, it's a song? Like, just on a simple, what do you mean it's a song? We all just came in here and just made a song. Like, that's madness in itself. From what? You just like, like, oh, here's the like, it's wild. It's a wild concept. And so not getting in the way too much.
Do you prefer working with one producer or multiple? Because
One.
particularly on the first two albums, you had, like, the first time we had multiple
Yeah.
producers, and then the second one was completely Quez.
The first one was one producer as well.
Oh, was it one producer as well?
Yeah. Do you know what? I don't know. I don't know. Is the songs good at this point? I've tried both,
Yeah.
and I'll do both again. Yeah. Does it feel good?
So yeah, with the new album, Sunday Dinner on a Monday, your first album in 6 years, what did you want to do on this album that you haven't done on previous albums?
So one of the things I've done on this album was worked with a few different producers. and focus on the music separate to the lyrics, as opposed to going in and then kind of building around the lyrics, which has been predominantly how it was before. So say me and them drums be in a studio, make the beat, take it home, get like my phone, hit record on my phone and hit play on the beat, and then just freestyle. And then take that freestyle and then just like, right, that same flow that I'm doing in the freestyle, I'm just literally just putting words to it and making it make sense. Yeah. Like it's not, and I feel like that's a difference in the way that it's more, I'm sitting on the beat as opposed to them being a musicscape around me. And I think it sounds that way as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And even production-wise, it is very eclectic, probably more so than other albums. And I guess that speaks to the fact that you've had different producers on it as well. Was there anything that you were listening, any kind of references that you were taking into the recording process or the creative process that was kind of guiding?
The Heady one and Drake.
The Heady, yeah.
Yeah, that was a reference.
Are you generally into that sound?
I'm kind of into everything. I mean, yeah, I'm into it. I'm into being impressed.
You can see the battle rap influence from the double entendres.
Yeah.
And everything like that, you could definitely see, because that's what it's based on. That's what URL's based on, and kind of,
it is.
however the surfs or whoever,
rap,
you can see the double entendres.
Right.
Every other bar is that, because they have to. They
and the
need to impress.
schemes.
The schemes, everything. So when you start rapping of this, you could tell more in this album than the previous ones. That is a difference.
I feel like
you rapped on a different level.
Yeah.
Compared to, not even disrespectful way, like on the previous albums compared to this, you have.
Yeah.
Which is the
Constant
level,
elevation,
it's the elevation that you're constantly growing at. You could definitely see.
Yeah.
Especially with a big gap as well. With a big gap, I guess, when you have such a big gap, I guess it's the difference between the gap people are looking out for.
Yeah.
If you've taken that 6 years out, it's just like, let's see what you've done for the 6 years. But you've definitely gone, it's just up another level.
Yeah.
Was that intentional? The 6-year gap?
No, it wasn't intentional. I quit after the third album. I literally quit after each album.
So would you say you quit after this one?
Do you know what? This album was more of a hobby for me, so I don't feel it feels different. I made this album literally like as though it's not my job. Like music hasn't been my main income for a long time. I make more money doing voiceovers than I do making music now. So this album was a hobby for me. It was let me go in the studio and make something enjoyable. It wasn't, there was no pressure of no label, of no, I need to be famous because I did that already. I need to be signed because I did that already. Do you know what I'm saying?
You need to win award shows, done that already.
You understand? It was literally just like, I just want to go in the studio and make music, and it's for fun.
Yeah.
And what can happen? And then I met them drums and heard his beats and was like, I would never make a beat like that. Let me let you take me somewhere then. You know what I mean? Because why not? Because I'm trying to do something I ain't done before. And I've never actually, other than the first album, I never really made music as a hobby. Right. This is the first time I've had the chance to do that since the first album. Yeah.
Was that quite freeing for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not constrained by the need to make money or the need to make a particular type of sound to be more successful or be more famous.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when did you realize you were going to make this album then? Because I know you said you quit after the last album.
So 2020, the song title, the album title, and then from I heard the album title, I was like, oh, that sounds like an album. That sounds like an album. And then when things are meant to be, they're very easy. It's very smooth. So we go from that sounds like an album to like bumping into somebody. Oh, have you met my mate? That's them drums. He's a producer. Oh, come around the studio. And now I'm hearing this music that I really like, and then it's just became when you're on the path that you're meant to be on for that chapter of your life, it's just easy. Yeah, it's just smooth, and so I'm just kind of in the boat, just riding. Like, okay, got an album now, got this now, got it. You know what I mean? So from 2020, the album was made 2 years ago. It was finished 2 years ago. It was super quick. It was a couple of months, and the album was just it was done.
What's your favourite song on the album?
I like different songs for different reasons. Favourite, that's tough, you know. I would say magic. Because it's with Jamaican producer, made in Jamaica, and I don't think I've ever made a song where I'm talking about sex in that way. In a way, it's like a coming out song for me. Not that anybody didn't know that. Like, it's been quite clear for a long time, and I haven't been in the closet. But in terms of a song on an album where I'm so clearly talking about a woman, it's kind of my coming out song in a way. So that's probably why it stands out so much to me.
And did you know you were doing that as you were writing it?
I wasn't even thinking about it. Yeah. So it was like, I knew after listening back to it, because I was like, oh, if you don't know me, I wonder if people, maybe people might not know I'm gay, you know? Okay.
And how did that feel, knowing that this might be new information for some people?
Cute. Yeah. Spicy.
Zesty.
Yeah.
But in the past, like being, you know, after the Mercury win and everything, did you find that your sexuality was maybe being used against you in any way, or was it ever in consideration or ever taken into account when people were dealing with you, or, you know?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think as well, anybody who was out as well, luckily enough for me, when I came out, it wasn't really a sort of social media age like that. So I didn't have to hear opinions of people I didn't know.
Right. Yeah.
And everybody that did know me or came into contact with me, it was quite clear what I like. You can see her right here. Do you know what I mean? So by the time that, and then, as you know, by the time it was so much opinions outside, I think I can't say the word, but as a society, we kind of got to, you know, we got more clued up as a society in terms of what's important and what's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not something that's affected me negatively.
Great to hear. So with the new album, I'm guessing you're not like, now that it's out, are you really paying attention to like sales or any kind of critical acclaim?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay, cool.
I've never known, no. I don't know on the first one, I've not known on any of the albums in terms of sale, because I don't know how to know, actually.
Does it feel important to know?
If I wanted to know that much, I'd probably try and figure out a way how. I'm sure, like, I'm on, this album is with Absolute or the label services. So I'm sure if I wanted to know enough, I could find out.
Yeah.
But I'm not interested in information that doesn't sound great, because my mental health's important. And if I need to find out the number, then it's a number that is not probably going to be, do you know what I'm saying? It's not going to be a number that's going to make me feel better. Like, I'm not asking anyone a question that ain't going to make me feel better than it is right now, unless it's like a relationship or something, and I need some information that's pertinent. So if it wasn't the top 20, I don't see the point in asking, because it makes no difference then.
It's interesting, man, because I feel like we're all like music aficionados, and like we don't really care about numbers. We've never cared about numbers. We judge it differently. We judge it on just like the art.
But see, that's what I'm saying. If it's in the top 20, then it makes a difference, because then it makes a difference in terms of the meetings I'm having, the conversations I'm having, right? Outside of that, it's my life continues as it is, and people. I would use it as a business.
Right.
Reference when it came to, if it was something like, if it was a number, if it was a 10, 9, 8, that would become business for me.
So would it necessarily inform your art in any way?
Not at all, no. It would just inform the numbers.
Yeah.
It would inform the conversations. I would be speaking instead of hitting someone up and being like, I got an idea, let's try and da-da-da-da. I'd probably be hitting them up and starting off with a number. Whereas now I'm hitting them up and seeing if we can meet in the middle and a creative idea and try to get it work. And do you know what I'm saying? Whereas I might not be doing that. I'd hit them up and say, look, this is how much I want. You want to do it?
So when you look at the current landscape now, where artists are making songs that are clearly geared towards high streams, high numbers, how do you feel about that?
I think that's always been the case. I think, you know, like, what is the first hip hop? That's, do you know what I mean? That isn't, it's, I don't mind that. I think there's supposed to be people making music that is not layered, and it's not Michelle and Digo Cello. It's just, you're just not, we're just not meant to have that. We're meant to have people that's making music and it's just simple, you know. It's the Baby Shark song. Because people need to be able to come outside of what they're living on in everyday life. Like, people are out here struggling and sad, and do you know what I mean? And if that song makes them feel good, and to another person it's not that, you know, it's not that good, it's not high quality, you know, what we arguing about here?
You gotta have both to survive.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You gotta have both to survive.
Yeah.
Can't always do that.
Balance, innit?
You gotta have balance. You gotta have.
Sometimes you need the lils.
Not always.
Listen,
The
you do.
what?
I don't have to listen to
The
this.
lils. As in Lil Baby, Lil Wayne, all the lils.
Little Dirk.
Yeah. You need the balance.
I'm for all of it.
No, you're
Just
not.
no,
No,
but
you're
it's
not.
oversaturated with
No, you're
not. Me
one
too.
You're not for
that
it.
isn't great, then of course I'm going to have an issue.
You're
But
not-
if it's there, then that's fine. And
But
it helps everything coexist. It
Yeah, it
helps
does.
everything, like, you know, just flourish.
If this was your world, brother.
It actually helps the type of artist, the opposite of that, right? So if that's what the time is now, everything is in cycles. What people then are going to start wanting, say 4 years, is, I want to feel something. I want to feel something now. I want to hear somebody saying something, talking to me. And so it helps that other type of artist. So it's cycles.
Because even the biggest artists recognize that. Beyonce released Lemonade before Renaissance and then released Renaissance to feel something. And you see how everybody received that album. So, like you say, it is cycles. What is one thing that all artists should know before entering the music industry, in your opinion?
You're going to get robbed in some way. You're going to at least feel robbed, whether, even if you can't back it up in terms of numbers, because I think this is an act of service. And to aim to stay in the black is probably the healthiest place to be. You know what I mean? Like, not be depleted and not feel depleted. But there's going to be times when you feel depleted because it's an act of service and it takes a lot from you. And just know when that happens, you get back to the black. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And level.
I hear that. With the career that you've had and the kind of breaks that you've had as well, now you're at this point where you've released another album. Do you feel content with where you're at in life and in the industry?
I feel content. I feel very content. I feel like I can, I'm accessible, right? So, like if you're famous, you're not really accessible in terms of you're not in a pub. Do you know what I mean? Just because you were just walking down the road and there was a pub and you like, come and just go in that pub and get a quick drink. We're waiting for so-and-so. Do you know what I mean? So that's the kind of life that I want, and that's the one that makes me happy. And I'm super, super comfortable. Like I said, I just turned 40, which I feel just feels like an achievement. I didn't know an age could feel like an achievement, but 40 feels like an achievement. And so, yeah, I feel content. I feel great. I have a great life.
Glad to hear it. And how do you feel about, like, do you keep in touch much with what's going on in the UK scene right now as far as like rap and drill?
I watch everything. That's how school. I'm looking. I'm seeing. I might not be
there, but like, you see it.
I'm watching.
Yeah. Well, you've been watching Heady One. Are there any other names that, that have been catching your eye or catching your ear, should I say?
The guy that I said, Frank, I can't remember his surname now. I literally was listening to him on the way here. He's got a tune and he flipped that Donald Jones. It's a quarter past the girl, what's it gonna be? Flip that sample. Crazy.
Okay.
That's dangerous, man, because I'm quite precious about my classic R&B tunes too.
He did it justice.
Cool.
He did it justice.
I'll take your word for it.
And it's just so nice because the sample's so pretty and what he's saying is so gutter. It's just a beautiful Do you know what I mean?
Check it out.
Juxtapose, you know.
Do you have any dream collaborations?
Michelle and Digo she's like the ultimate artist for me.
Yeah. Comfort Woman's my shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
She's dope. It would be nice to collaborate with some women here and in US. I tell you what, who I wouldn't mind getting in the studio with, what's her name? Azealia Banks.
Okay.
I think she's super interesting music-wise. Obviously, she's super interesting in terms of her character as well. I think it'll be a right laugh. I think I'd have a good time.
Why do you think you haven't collaborated with many women up to this point?
I've tried. I certainly have tried. I still, even on this album, actually, the Dilemma is featured on this album, who's amazing on the reading. But I try every album, and I don't get. They're not receptive. The people that I reach out to. Do you know what I mean? I get the I'll get back to you. I'll do the verse. Get back to you. I don't hear nothing.
You and Estelle would be good together.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
I would do it, absolutely. The one thing I'd like to do is rap with other rappers, because it's such a healthy competition to it. That the way you can bounce off other people, and I really enjoy that. I haven't got much reception from women.
You and Little Sims would be dope.
I think that'd be dope.
You and Little Sims.
I would love that for the culture as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Go crazy.
You and Lexa Moore as well.
Lexa Moore
dope.
is she's a don,
Yeah,
and we're definitely going to work together. Definitely.
love that. Yeah, I guess there's this thing like on social media, especially about how UK artists don't really collab with each other and don't really big each other up. I guess that kind of lends itself to this conversation in a sense as well, maybe.
Also, it's a bit of a struggle, you know, like out here, especially if you're a woman, you're a black woman, like even to, I think people forget that things take budgets and they take money, even to get, you know, like if somebody sends me something and says, oh, can you put a verse on this? Where you want me to put the verse on it? Do you understand? You want me to, I've got to go somewhere, I've got to write it, I've got to put the verse on it. What, your studio? You ain't got the studio now because the label's not given the budget for that yet. They just want you to do it. So that, like, there's a whole lot that goes into it that we're not afforded. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we're kind of getting the scraps of this thing. Right. And so I understand it's like, it's a lot of work to do simple things for us.
Yeah.
So I have grace.
Do you generally think the scene's in a good place as far as like recognition, number of artists coming out, making big hits?
Yeah, I
albums?
do. I think it's in a better place. When I came out in 2009, there was no way there would be, 3-4 people in the top 10 that were black. It just weren't happening. It was not happening. It's going to be really dope when we get to a point where it's not just black men. Or, I don't know, black adjacent men. That would be even dope. But I think I can't complain where we're at if it's moved.
Yeah.
It has moved. It has got better.
It's a process.
Yeah.
I hear that. So what's next for Speech Debelle?
Tour in October.
Lovely.
Dope.
Yeah.
Where you going to be?
UK tour. Also, the album just came out. So at the moment, I want people to take it in.
Just let the album breathe.
You know, you know what I mean? You know, like you have a list of albums that you're like, I ain't even got into that yet. Like you got a list of like 4. So right now, I want people to just get into the album.
You were just saying actually as well.
That
There's a list of albums that we want to get through.
Yeah. And you want to like I just took in Janelle Monáe's album. I'm not sure. I think that came out the same day as mine. And I only just took it in yesterday. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah. Also with the tour, we're working on some foodie things. Logistically, how does that work? And I don't want to be like doing food at the show. That's not going to work. So it's a case of like, you know, kind of having a sort of tasting thing before the show at different locations. And I'm interested in post-COVID, what is a live show? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the taste, that's very unique. Like, I've never heard of anybody do that. So sounds like it could be pulled off really, really well.
Yeah.
What's your signature dish?
Curry man.
Makes sense. Name of the first track on the album.
That's the biggest I've seen Daniel smile this whole episode. Bro.
Nah, I hear it. It gets excited when we talk about your food, isn't it? Amen. Well, dope. Boys, anything else?
Yeah, you got to ask. You forgot one more question.
You can ask it.
No, you word it better.
No, Peter words it better,
That's
actually.
my question, isn't it?
Go on.
Do you know what I mean?
And when you word it, I just want to preface, can you do it properly, please? Thank you
Also,
very much.
we asked this question to every guest
I
as
had
well.
a feeling.
So we asked this question to ourselves, our third episode, 4 years ago. And we've been asking every guest since.
Yeah.
Take it away, Peter.
What part of London do you think has the best MCs?
South.
Done.
That's just, I respect you. I hope you know that. That's number one. And I appreciate you. That's number two.
The caveat.
I'm not taking it away from North London, man.
North.
No. Nah, this is what they get wrong.
Oh, here we go.
Well, before you get there,
Sorry.
who in South Juice would you say is good enough for you to make that claim?
It's not about that, right? East has the sort of most well-rounded. South has the most influential.
Facts.
Tottenham's got the best.
MC-wise?
Yeah. But with this,
Where's AJ Tracy? Is he from North?
no, he's from West. But this is the thing, though. When I
Here we
This
go.
is what they do.
See, this is what he's
Because
gonna
obviously,
do.
this
Who's
is what they do.
Who's they?
The other man. This is what they do. So, my original argument isn't north, east, south, west.
Right.
My original argument is if you keep it to just one area, like you
Yeah.
know how Tottenham's an area, Bowl's an area, Tower Hamlets, Peckham, just one area.
Bow.
Tottenham produced the best
You didn't say
rappers.
Newham.
Did you get what I'm saying? Just one kind of postcode, just N17.
Yeah, I think so. I can agree.
Tottenham, that's what I'm saying. Like when you,
But that's not the question.
the bigger
right?
argument, north, east, south, west, I can see south. South can talk to north. But when you just say one area, Tottenham wins by a landslide.
That's because most rappers come out of Tottenham or Bow.
I wonder what that's about. I wonder what that connection is.
What, with Tottenham?
Yeah, like what's that about?
Well, I'm from Tottenham.
No, sorry, not the connection. Like what breeds the better rapper from Tottenham?
I think it's just the innate nature
Just
of...
being lyrical miracle.
No,
really.
honestly,
They're not all lyrical miracle,
They're not all lyrical
Yeah,
miracle.
but
Do you know what it is, though?
but the ones that he harps on about are
Skepta-
lyrical
Skepta
miracle.
ain't lyrical miracle.
Who you talking about?
You don't mention Skepta nearly as much as you mention Chip or Wretch.
Skepta's not lyrical.
That's what I'm
isn't
saying,
it?
Skepta's
What I'm
not
saying is
lyrical.
he only really mentions Chip and Wretch and them. man.
Wretch is the greatest lyricist to me in the UK ever.
I'm gonna have to. Google
For real?
Not ever.
I don't know
Wretch
about
is
that,
the
man.
best
Red,
rapper.
don't know
I
if
can't
he's a
see
better
anybody
lyricist
talking to
As a
Wretch.
lyricist.
I don't know if he's a better lyricist than Gets.
Lyricist.
I don't know if he's a better lyricist
Oh,
than
I'm
Gets.
tripping. Gets.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a
No one
better
can talk
lyricist
to
than
Gets.
Gets. See, I wasn't even going to pull for him.
No one can talk to
But that's
Gets.
the
That's the boss,
But like,
innit?
you
I ain't
see,
even gonna
but you
pull
see
for him.
Kano and Gets, they're from two parts of South.
No, they're not.
No,
They're
Kano's
East.
from East.
Sorry,
from
sorry,
East.
not, I said South Side. They're from two different parts of East.
Right.
Right? They're not. So where are they from? They're both from Newham.
No, I think Gets is Plasto.
He's in Europe.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, but okay,
yeah,
wait.
leave
Guess
it
is from
there.
Plasto. Where's Kano actually from? Bowl, right? Newham.
Yeah.
Cool. That's two different. That's not the same postcode. Gets, sorry, Skepta, Chip,
I think Kano's from
Wretch.
East Ham.
All of them are from one postcode, N17.
Is that new?
Do you get what I'm saying?
I
like-
mean,
Hey, man.
all right.
I appreciate you. Hey,
But South for the win still.
South for the
Gets,
win.
So we'll take- we'll take
Gets
that.
is Gets
Yeah,
is.
Gets
No,
might
South
be-
one. South
Yeah.
one.
The
South
one
one.
still.
I think Kano's the best for me, but
Yeah.
Gets, I don't know if Gets, I don't know if Wretch is better than Gets. either.
Kano's Jay-Z. He's our
I can,
Jay-Z.
yeah, I can see
Okay.
that.
He's our Jay-Z.
Yeah, I can see that.
Gets his. I don't think anyone can talk to Gets.
Yeah, right. Rich is not.
Anyway.
Yeah. Who's your favorite?
I don't know if Wretch is Nas though.
No.
Rich is not really bars.
Kano.
Rich is not really bars.
What do you say?
Rich ain't really bars.
Rich is a poet on steroids.
Yeah.
He's a poet on steroids.
Yeah.
Congregationist.
Yeah.
Like he's.
Yeah,
Do you notice to me that I just
exactly.
when I say just pure lyricism,
Yeah.
just pure pen to paper.
Yeah.
Rich is the best I've ever heard.
Wow.
I
In
don't
the
know.
UK, in the UK.
I don't
He's
know,
the best I've
bro.
ever heard,
Because
man.
Gets is different.
Nah,
But-
Bro,
Gets,
you know me. I
man.
love Gets.
Gets.
I love Gets, bro.
And
I
Kano.
love Gets.
Gets is
I
insane.
do.
Yeah.
Gets is different. Gets is there though. But like when we're arguing, Gets it's two elite people.
Yeah.
So it's not like me taking Rich over Gets is taking away from
Nah,
this.
nah,
other.
not
Yeah.
at
Gets
all,
is
not at all.
elite.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
if you ask me who the best is,
If you weren't from Tottenham, do you think you'd say that though?
yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yes, I would.
Because I'm about to ask the same question. I don't believe you.
I think I would.
I don't think you would.
I don't believe you at
But there's a
all.
difference though. I was listening to Teacher's Training Day in year 8, man, year 9.
Because I think just stylistically of what you like to listen to, bro, you're more inclined to go with Gets if you want to keep it real.
Yeah, but like he
Exactly. So if you were from Tottenham, you won't say Wretch.
didn't give me punctuation when I was in year 9.
Here we go.
When I was in year 9 listening to
Here we
punctuation
go.
and but I was listening to top 3 selected like Inner the Ghetto. Gets washed. Gets one Inner the Ghetto.
Yeah.
Does Rich have like a one take or like an artillery or any of those type of tunes that Gets has?
He's got My Life. No, teacher training day. How can you say? Have you heard My
Like
Life?
a turn up anthem, basically.
Turn up anthem.
Yeah. And that's not tracked up. That's not tracked up.
Inna the Ghetto don't count.
As a turn up anthem.
Inna the Ghetto was different.
Maybe for the road, man.
Yeah, Inna the Ghetto, that was an anthem. Inna the Ghetto was definitely
Anthem
anthem.
is strong.
Inna the Ghetto.
Anthem is strong.
Anthem is very strong. Well,
Well, I was wilding out in these
It's a
streets.
really good song.
Can't
But
lie
Anthem
to
is
you.
quite strong.
Well, it depends on what you was doing outside.
What are you doing outside?
God, it's the
well, on that note, we're going to wrap up. Speech, thank you so much for
Yeah, man,
coming
big
down.
much appreciate it. Coming
Very
through.
much appreciate you coming down and sharing your story with us. How can people reach you?
Don't.
I was about to ask, do you want to be reached?
I knew she would say that as well.
I'm saying. Speech Debelle on all the things. Yeah, Speech Debelle on all the things.
All the thanks.
Yeah. Follow me on TikTok. I'm meant to be doing stuff on TikTok because you've got to be a content creator, innit? I'm meant to be making videos.
I got something for you for TikTok. after
Really?
this. I got something for TikTok.
I appreciate that. I'm trying. Do you know what? I really appreciate artists that are able to do it effortlessly. It's actually a really good skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a skill in itself. It's hard, man.
TikTok.
I'm still trying to get used to the TikTok game.
Yeah.
It's so creative.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's too
And
creative.
some people just hitting it right. And considering they're a music artist and they're able to do that, they're dope.
We're at the age where we're playing catch up, guys.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
We're playing catch up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, we've just TikTok. I'm still trying to figure.
I don't want to figure out.
I never thought I was gonna get to this point in my life where we're confused.
TikTok's actually really fun. I used to be very anti-TikTok.
Our TikTok's
But it's very fun.
It's crack
addictive,
cocaine.
yeah.
It's actually crack.
But I just want to like look at TikTok. I don't want to make things for TikTok. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you.
100%. Boys, any shout-outs before we take the people out?
No,
Nah, man.
No.
It's big up to the Most High.
no clear soul.
Oh yeah, big up Cleo Soul always, man. I don't need to say it to big her up though, innit? So big up Cleo Soul, of course.
I mean, if you don't, it might get lost.
it's fine, man.
Any big ups?
The people them. For
people
listening.
them.
The listening, watching, all that good stuff. Drake's as well.
Big up
Always.
Drake's
Big up
always,
Drake's.
yeah,
Big up
yeah,
Drake's.
yeah.
And yeah, that'll do it for episode 93 of the Rhymes Like Dimes podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you want to get at us, we are at Rhymes Dimes Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. If you want to get at us for topic suggestions, we are on rhymeslikeDimespodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on all the streaming platforms as well. Leave us a rating, if you please, as well. It very much helps us. Follow us on YouTube as well. All that good stuff. And yeah, we'll see you very soon. So until then, take care, stay safe, stay blessed,
Stay black.
and peace.
You are like